Okay, I'll try to record a quick video here. Done some updates. Download the PowerShell script, make sure there's nothing else in there. You will get the little debug window down here. I like to drag it down here. The Jamboree window I like to put up here. Haxium install, that's for the hardware drivers. You might need to reboot. You definitely need administrator for that part. Second part is Burp Suite. It will, if Java's missing, it'll download Java, and it's all virtualized into this. It's all contained mostly into this folder, so it's not going to ruin any of your existing stuff. It's pulling down Java, it's pulling down Burp Suite Community, and I have it also pulled down Burp Suite Pro because I use that from time to time. So I'll do, and in the background it's trying to pull down the certificate. So you're waiting, it's waiting for the Burp Suite proxy to start. So in the background it's sitting there retrying. We're going to leave the proxy in history view. Now the start AVD button I'll probably fix, but you have to click it twice and errors out. So it pulls down the command line tools, essentially does, instead of having to do Android Studio and all that mess, it does it all for you. Right now it's pulled down a 15 meg tiny version of Python with pip, so it's going to install all the requirements for Python, and then it's going to error out for whatever reason, and then you click the start AVD again, and it will pull down the actual image files that you need to do all this. So if you've ever had to create any of that stuff in Android Studio, it's a mess. It takes forever, and you click the wrong thing, and you got to go back and download it, wait and download everything. And this does it all for you through the command line. This is what takes the longest, obviously, because you're pulling down the images for the entire OS. Some other thing it's done in the background is that it's set up again all the requirements for objection and Frida, and it's getting ready to push all that stuff to the actual image itself. I think it also, in the background, it installs the certificate to the trusted local root store. So that way, if you do use like a browser, it will be in your cert store. So if you want to just use your regular browser for Windows, it'll be in there already, so you don't have to do anything fancy. Get that in there. Eventually, I'd like the Zap using Burp to just automatically work, but I'm having problems with the certificates. So, but eventually you'll be able to click the Zap using Burp, and it will all be set up for you. But for now, you have to set up yourself. So you set up Burp Suite using Zap or Zap using Burp Suite, whichever direction you want to go. But certificates are a mess. So I'm going to put this over here. Now you can long press that power button to shut it down. But you can also click the shutdown AVD button. Here's your AVD logcat. We'll show all the log files all the way up to warning and higher. So usually for the first time it starts, I usually let it sit and marinate. So what it's kind of doing in the background is it's on the internet and it's like phoning home and doing all kinds of stuff. So the CPU usage is like really high right now for the device itself. I've found if you kind of start going really quickly and start moving around really quickly, it'll start getting upset and kind of crashy. So I let it sit and marinate for a while, just let it boot up, let it sit for a second. Some other things I'll tell you is the command line ADB Java. So this will give you a command prompt with Java Python and also the ADB prompt. So you can click this. It's pulling down Git, so you can run Git, pull down Git repos and stuff. So here's your shell right here. You know, we don't have root yet. There's no pseudo binary. And then here's your full blown, Java and Python shell. So you can do whatever you want to there. So it's been sitting for a minute. We're going to go ahead and do the root AVD install. Now, this is what's changed a little bit because now we can install a newer version of Magisk. So this is what's going to allow you to get root. So it's going to run like a temporary version of Magisk so that you can point to a patch that will let you install Magisk. So we go in here. Once it's pushed the image to fake boot, we're going to click install, then go to select a patch, then go to downloads, and it will say fake boot. Click that and say let's go, and it will inject that into a portable place. And then click back to this window, and you have to click back to the like debug window, and then click enter, and it will kind of finish the rest of the process, and it will shut it down. And now basically when this boots, we'll have root again. So we're starting the emulator back up. And now's kind of the time you want to start thinking about seeing traffic in Burp Suite. So once we have root, we can do SSL termination. We can view the SSL traffic. When you first start, all you can get is HTTP. So there is a proxy command line argument for the emulator, but it is buggy, and it has been causing me problems for a year now. So I've given up on that, and I'm using just the manual, which is not fun, and I don't like clicking. So maybe one of these days we'll get around to having it automated. So here's the proxy hostname, 10.0.2.2, and then 8080 is the port. We'll click save. And I'm pretty sure this is the same for any of them. It's that 10.0.0. You can do IP. You'll open up a ADB window and get your route using ADB commands. Once you've done that, your traffic should eventually start showing up in Burp Suite. But we're going to go ahead and click the Magisk again, and we're going to make sure it's actually installed. So this happens once you reboot and you have root. It'll say it needs to do more stuff for it to work, and it's going to reboot. So this will be this second reboot. And look, we've already got HTTP summit coming here, so we know the proxy is configured to push traffic to Burp Suite, so we're good there. I'll like to sort it by highest first, just for this example, so I can see the debug window filling down here. I can see Burp Suite filling up here, and I know what's going on. So we're waiting for this to restart. Alright, so we should start seeing some traffic in here once we're doing stuff. Now, what we're missing now is the actual certificate. So this does the magic of upload burp prim as certificate. So it's going to pull down that certificate file for you. This warns you to say, hey, you need to go ahead and set up the Wi-Fi settings just to make sure before we do all this, because it's going to do a lot of stuff. It's going to convert the file. It's going to download that dir file, convert it for you. It's going to install the utility that pushes the certificate to the system store, and then it's a Magisk module that handles the certificates for you. So it's pushed that certificate. Now it's telling you to reboot. You can do that, hold down, and then say restart, or you can just click shutdown here, shutdown ABD, and you can shut it down through ADB. I would recommend doing the shutdown ABD, because that way you know there hasn't been a disconnect between ADB and the emulator. Sometimes the emulator can be lost, and ADB can be lost. The server gets corrupt or something like that. So I like to use shutdown ABD because I know that it's able to talk to it through the ADB. So we're going to start it up one last time. I think this will be the last time you have to reboot. Once you get root, you don't have to reboot anymore unless you install any more certificates or any more plugins or do anything boot-wise. So at this point, we have root, we have our certificate pushed, and we are ready to look at SSL traffic. So when this starts marinating, we should start to see some HTTPS traffic coming through here. Now you know that the certificate, or at least a certificate, is installed if you get this warning here. Unknown certificate, third party, blah. So we're going to disconnect, reconnect, and see if we get any HTTPS here. It's probably all SSL pinned stuff. So what we're going to do is install an example application This install base ABK basically installs a bunch of utilities and things that I just found useful. So the split ABK manager, AMA's file manager, DuckDuckGo browser, Game Guardian, which is for like memory stuff. Lucky Patcher is for patching like a local app store. A root checker basically, and it looks like Lucky Patcher doesn't work right now, but um, what we're looking for is this test app for testing SSL strip and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and test this application, and we're ready to go. We'll click Frida Android root SSL depinning. And you have to know the name of the app. Sometimes the name of the com name of the app or whatever is different than anything else. So you might have to look around inside of the app manager to see what the actual name is, or you can kind of guess inside of here. But for this example, it's goat, Q-A-T, and it's actually labeled a goat. So you can click that, click OK. Now it's going to push everything for you and get it all set up and working. So we'll go ahead and minimize this. We don't need it for now. We're going to do network intercepting, so we're going to check our HTTP, which we should see in here, and we do not. HTTP, HTTPS, and no cert pinning, so we're not getting the traffic. So we're going to go ahead and go down here, go back to network internet, Wi-Fi. Oh, now we're connected. So it was actually disconnected. So that's why we weren't getting any traffic. That's why I don't like to use the UI version, because it seems to want to like stop working once it gets disconnected. So now that we're connected, we should have the app still running in the background. Okay, so there's our HTTP. We're good there. Our HTTPS is not great, and there's our SSL strip. See if our HTTPS is popping. Yep. Okay, there's our HTTPS. So all just to make sure. We're going to clear history. I'm going to go backwards here. So there's your SSL pinning. There's your HTTPS, and there's your HTTP. So now we can, begin to look at other apps, set up the Play Store, do all that fun stuff, and start looking around. Some other features I'd like to add are the safety net bypass stuff and a utility for doing all that other stuff. Other than that, you've got Logcat that'll show you, again, like errors and stuff. If you're having errors or something's crashing, you can kind of look in there and see. Some other suggestions I'll say is like if you're having problems with an app, you can hold this down and go to app info. Usually uninstall, reinstall works, but sometimes you have to clear out the cache for stuff. Click OK. Sometimes that helps with apps that start getting kind of crashy. But you should start to see the traffic in there, and if you don't, then it's not even working. So there's root detection and basic stuff in here, but then you might have to start getting into the weeds to get stuff going. Game Guardian is for like basically doing memory hacking. So like if you ever had like a game hacker or whatever, you can search for memory addresses and change values. So that's one other way. So like if you don't need to look at the packets, if you can just directly hack the memory of the game, and that's one way you can do that. That's pretty much it. The Zap using burp basically right now just starts Zap and burp, but you need to set up the certificates yourself, and get them pushed to the ADB, which I don't think you actually have to do. I think it's just a setup. But anyways, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know. And these are just additional tools that I've been using for other stuff, so I won't talk about that here. But appreciate it. Hope to help you guys out, and let me know if you use it. Have any questions or want any features, let me know.